So apparently Mario is going to be an animated movie. Literally everything is becoming an animated movie now. So for the Mario movie, we got Jack Black is Bowser. Why didn't I think of that? We have Charlie Day is Luigi. Not a bad idea. I think it's okay. And Chris Pratt is Mario. What? Is this like the guy that played Emmett from the Lego movies? That the guy from Jurassic World? What? Guys, alert, alert. Look who's making this. It's Illumination. Like, literally. Any other company Nintendo should have chosen, they picked Illumination. Literally one of the things that is the most disliked animation studio on YouTube. Yeah, people hate Illumination at this point. You can't even go on YouTube without saying why Illumination sucks. So I'm going to be doing some Illumination movies. I'm going to be do some Illumination movies and put my opinions on them, like why are some really good or some are just bad. The first one I'm going to be doing is Despicable Me. This one lives about a guy named Gru who is a super villain, and he's always used to letting people down. He wants to mess, but he wants people down. So he's so used to always being in the wrong, or or being good of incapable of good things. Sorry. He always wants to mess up. It's a heartwarming tale, and that's only until he adopts these 3 girls, and then he has to put children in danger. So the plot is that first, before he adopts them, he wants to steal the moon, and but there's one thing he has to have in his mind: steal the moon or watch these 3 girls. Unfortunately, he makes his decision too soon, and they're taken away, and the girls all think it's because he doesn't like. And later, the main villain of this film, Vector, who he actually knows Gru, in which Gru actually knows his father, Mr. Perkins. Actually, because the girls ruined his plan about stealing the moon to Mr. Perkins, which is Vector's father. They ruined it, and Agnes and just all the girls. Margot, Eve, and Agnes. Those are the girls. I forgot to mention those. They kind of ruined it. They have the shrink ray, and then Vector has the shrink ray, and then he kidnapped the girls. And then Gru is basically in the final battle. He basically fights Vector, and he gets the girls back. So I really like the Minions. That's one of my favorite parts. I like these henchmen and sidekicks in this film. Next one I'm going to do off is Despicable Me 2. I'm going to be doing is Despicable Me 2. This is what I'm going to be doing in the next sequel. So it's about Gru, who's quit being villainy and just taking care of the girls. Unfortunately, he gets hired by the Anti-Villain League, which fights crime, and Lucy Wilde, who is his partner, who are investigating, trying to find a case about the PX41 serum to actually make animals just go wild and crazy stuff and like annihilate them and obliterate them. And they're finding a suspect of a villain named Al Matro, who was supposed to die 20 years ago, and disguising himself as a restaurant owner. Unfortunately, the truth all he knows, he is the real villain, and then it's just to a final battle. And Agnes, this is so cute. This is actually almost a hard one too. Actually thinks that Gru has a crush on Lucy. It's so cringe. And then Gru, I mean, it's a kids movie, so of course it is. And then actually does. Gru actually thinks in the end he actually does love Lucy, and that's it. Next one I'm gonna review off is the Minion. So this is actually a prequel. This is not gonna be like, just like Despicable Me. So what it's about is the Minions tells us how the Minions have been along for far longer than we have, and of how they needed to find a blossom somewhere where they needed to stay safe. And unfortunately, when it seemed like all hope seemed lost, they found somewhere. And unfortunately, they they think of how they have no purpose without a master, which is kind of, and if you ask me, I think they should be thankful that they don't have a master, because you can be freedom and like do whatever you want. But unfortunately, the Minions don't really understand that. Unfortunately, this Minion named Kevin stepped up and actually said he was going to go out of the cave and in to find a master. And he recruits Stuart, which Stuart basically had no idea what he was being chosen for, and Bob, who actually just really wanted to go and was begging Kevin. And unfortunately, Bob Kevin just led Bob, and then Bob's actually because he thought that Bad Bob was not strong enough since he's cute. And this is my favorite Minion, Bob. I like Minion Bob. I like Bob. He's one of my favorite characters in Despicable Me. I really like him. And Kevin, and then it's the trio who goes around places everywhere, and just he just goes around places everywhere and just beats villainy and just no, they don't be villainy, but but they're just trying to find a master, and later they found Scarlet Overkill. They find Scarlet Overkill, hires them, who's the greatest supervillain of all time, and hires the minions to be their new henchmen to find the Queen Elizabeth crown. And unfortunately, they don't actually fail. Is that Bob actually gets the crown? He becomes the King of England. And I actually really like that segment. That was actually pretty cool. I actually really like him. I was like, yo, Bob. I really like King Bob. I like Bob. Unfortunately, Scarlet Overkill gets mad because they thought they betrayed her. And unfortunately, Gru actually appears in this at the end, but he steals the Queen Elizabeth crown. And it turns out that Gru is actually 4 years old in this. How is he 4 years old? How is he able to use a freeze ray? How? He literally has. How is he 4 years old? So my thoughts on the Minions film, actually not to judge me, but I like this better than the first two Despicable Me movies. I actually like it more. And actually, Despicable Me 1 and 2, I know a lot of people more like it, but I like the Minions more. I just like. And next one we got off is Despicable Me 3. So this one's actually just like one of the badder ones on those. I haven't revealed any bad movies on the list, just too bad. But I thought Despicable Me 3 was just bad. And I'm going to be telling you why. And this movie is just full of plot holes, plot holes, plot holes, plot holes, plot holes. It's literally just full plot holes. I hate it. I just don't like it. It was just bad. All these plot holes. So I'm not going to explain all the plot holes. So Gru and Lucy are fired from the Anti-Villain League, actually. And then he goes to, I don't know where, to meet his twin brother, Drew, that he actually didn't know he had. And so the main villain in this film was Battleizer Brat, who's like a 1900s villain. He's like how like stores because he obsessed with revenge because Hollywood betrayed him and abandoned him, and then he gets like really mad about it. And he wants to like do revenge, and he becomes like a villain. Then so they have to fight him, and almost every time he gets him, but then he doesn't do it right, and then basically and Drew keeps trying to convince Gru, and Drew keeps trying to convince Gru they should go back to villainy, and eventually his decision is made. Gru is keeping to go back to being a hero, because before he was a villain, but in Despicable Me 2, I forgot to mention this, is that Gru is just, he's trying to be good in Despicable Me 2, and he actually did, changed his ways, and in this, he actually decided to keep them. Unfortunately, the minions work with Drew because they agree on being evil with Drew. And then in the end, the minions go and work with Drew, and then they run away, and then they run away again. The minions and Drew run away, and I'm pretty sure that they might have Despicable Me 4, and later on, they might have something. So, Margot, right, from Despicable Me. You know how in Despicable Me when you join the Illumination website.com, she has just an impression about, oh, she's the oldest, but this is literally her impression in literally Despicable Me 3. Margot, still responsible, yet full of teenage, and just especially towards Lucy. That is totally different. It's totally irrelevant for what you said before in the first two movies. That is totally irrelevant. It's literally, I cannot believe it. I know, because Kylie Beatty, it's not the same directors as People Me 1 and 2. So obviously, they just decided to make Margot's character just because she's like 12, obviously, and almost a teenager. And next one I'm going to be reviewing is The Rise of Gru. So, Minions The Rise of Gru, I'm not going to judge this film because actually a lot of people that hate Illumination actually like this film. They said how it was actually a good Illumination film, but not too good. And I can kind of agree on that. The Rise of Gru is actually my favorite Illumination movie. So The Rise of Gru is about Gru as a kid, and this is actually after the Minions. And then wants to join this villain group called the Vicious Six, but unfortunately, they told him rejected him because he's too young. This guy literally just stole Queen Elizabeth's crown. Are you stupid? Yeah, and then Gru steals a thing that's called that's supposed to take over the world, and unfortunately, he gets kidnapped by Wild Knuckles, who's a former member of the Vicious Six, but got kicked down and abandoned, even though Wild Knuckles was the leader. Unfortunately, Wild Knuckles kidnaps Gru because he thinks that he was working with the Vicious Six, but he wasn't. Unfortunately, then the trio, Stuart, Kevin, and Bob, have to go save Gru for the entire film, and they always try to do anything. And then the main. So here's my final thoughts on Illumination Entertainment. I never actually think I just don't understand why Illumination is bad. I'm just pretty sure because of how forgettable the movie is. They just don't go for a deep storyline like other films. And I know like I've only reviewed like films that for like the only bad film I really found on this list was Despicable Me 3, and I'm pretty sure of why they like to do this was because they want to entertain little kids because it's a kids studio and they have I don't know they just like to because their main objective is to entertain other than a storyline. And that's just my take on it. But these films will never be classics like Wall-E or Shrek. That's just my take on it. What do you think in the comment sections down below? Subscribe, like and subscribe. Comment down below if you like. And what are your thoughts on Illumination Entertainment? And I'll see you in my next video.